Hi, welcome. Hey, have you ever wanted to make some cute little ornaments, but just didn't have the right kind of materials? I can tell you how to make some cute little angels just using tissue paper or parchment paper. I'm going to use parchment paper. You could use waxed paper. You could use any kind of lightweight paper to make these cute little angels, and they're easy enough even for children to make. So let me move this down so you can see what we're doing. Okay, so I am going to be using parchment paper, layers of parchment paper, to make these cute angels. And then all we need is a little string to tie them up. Let me set them aside so we can work. I'm going to cut the string first and set this aside also. Okay, so I have got 5 sheets of parchment paper. Each one is a slightly different size. This one's the widest. So this is going to be the skirt. This one's almost as wide. And this one is fairly narrow. I'm going to fold them all in their centers the long way. So they get folded the long way. You'll see they like to curl. That's okay. It will take care of that little problem in a minute. All right, so, and then this one is already folded. Now I'm going to line up the folds. And these papers are generally about, for the largest one, about twice as long as it is wide for the largest. And the rest of them just become layers, like layers in the skirt or layers in the wings. So I'm going to start folding, and I want the folds to not be terribly small, because it's easier to work with larger folds with this. So this is about 3/4 of an inch. And while it's a little tricky to keep these layers from sliding around, having this fold line in the center keeps them in line, and I can use this fold line to line up the accordion pleats I'm making as I go. I pinch it to turn it over, pinch it together, and now I'm going to try to make the folds, the accordion pleats, all about the same size. And then I'm going to fold it back, pinching it as I do that so I keep all the layers together. And then I'm going to try to line this up, line up the center, and then line up the edges so that the pleats do not get to be larger than the first one I started with. That's easy to do, by the way. All right. Again, we're going to continue doing this. You'll notice as I do this, some of that rolling of the paper disappears. It becomes easier to work with. Okay, here we go. A little bit more. Now, this is going to be the skirt. It's actually the head and the skirt. And I am going to want, actually I probably started this the wrong way. The top should have been this small part, and that would have been underneath, but it is very difficult to start with that narrow, tiny piece underneath and make sure you have everything lined up. So I'm going to show you what we can do to fix that little problem when we get to the end. All right, so now we have this short bit I'm not going to be able to do anything with. What I really want is for us to be able to see all of these layers. So I'm going to cut here so I can see all the layers. I'm going to cut straight across on that last fold line. I'll set these aside. And on this side, I also want to see all those layers, so I'm going to open this up and again cut on that fold line straight across. That final pleat line is really what I'm cutting on right now, not the initial fold. Try to get that as neat as you can. There's a little bit. Now, if you have one side that cuts more neatly than the other, the side that isn't as neat can be inside. I'm going to fold this along that center fold line now, matching up the bottoms, and keep that pleated. Helps to have something heavy maybe you could set on top of it. I'm going to use this Christmas bell and set that on top of it. You stay there. All right, move you out of the way a little. Oop. That was so cooperative. There we go. All right, then we're going to start on the wings. Again, this is only 2 layers. You could make it 3 layers if you want to. Again, what we really need to do is fold the long way so we have a long center line on both of them. There we go. Line them up on the center line. And start folding, trying to make the folds about the same size as they were for the other piece. And back and forth. I'm lining up that center line on the pleated part along with the center line. Here we go. You want those to stay lined up as best you can. This is getting a little bit off, but I'm not going to worry about that. These are parts of the wings. This angel kind of ends up the way it ends up, and it's charming, even if the pleating is a little bit off. All right, so in this case, I have both sides, both pleats I can see on this side. So I'm just going to trim, even though it's not totally even, trim this off straight across. And then this side, because I do want to see, I need to trim this piece off so I can see both layers here too, okay? So across we go, trim. Okay, now this is going to be, because it's a little shorter, this is going to be the wings. It's not a lot shorter, but it's a little bit shorter. Now let's put these two together. Those wings are going to be pretty big. I can trim this a little bit shorter. And now the wings will be a little shorter on this dolly, this angel. And now you want to keep, see how this is folded back and it's open on the back here? This is going to go toward the back. And the same thing on this one. This needs to be, this is going to be the back, this side. So we line up the fronts, putting the wings over the top of what would be the skirt or the dress. This is going to become the head right here at the top at the fold. So I take the string and I pinch it on there. I hold it on there with my thumb and I go around and around and around and around to the back 3 or 4 times, depending on the heaviness of your string. You might have string that's very thick. I'll show you in a second what I mean. Now I'm going to tie this very tight. I want a very tight knot. And again, I'm going to tie this tightly. That's it. That's all I need. And I'm going to actually make a hanging loop on here. So let me just make a knot. Okay, so we've got this done. All right, so now I'm going to put this together, folding these up over the head, and fold this one up over the head. If you find that they're pulling apart, you could put a dab of glue inside. Like this is sliding out a little bit. I'm going to put a little glue in there for the simple reason that it will slide apart. Maybe I don't have the string tight enough. Put a little dab of glue in there. Put a little too much glue. That's okay. We'll wipe it off. You will not see this glue later. Let me just wipe this off. Okay. You might also want to consider putting a small dab of glue between the 2 layers of the skirts. And I'm just going to take some of what's on the face, put that down here, and pinch that together, because that will hold the skirt together on the bottom. We're going to take these and move them up. Press up. If you need to, you can glue them up a little bit. This is just the little fiddly part that you need to do to just kind of get this to look like an angel. There are her wings. Here's her skirt. And again, you can fold this up a little bit. There we go. An angel dolly. Very easily made. Now I know you can still see the glue. This will dry clear and you won't be able to see it later. There we go. How cute, huh? Thanks for joining me.